What if I told you that beneath the marble floors of one of the most famous churches in town, 3 innocent souls lay buried, killed by the very man who preached about love and salvation every Sunday? This is the chilling true story of Pastor Bartholomew, a man whose desperate hunger for power led him down a path so dark it would destroy everything he claimed to love. Picture this, a small town where everyone knew everyone. Pastor Bartholomew wasn't your typical flashy preacher. He was quiet, humble, married to the sweetest woman named Amaka. She was the type who'd show up at your door with a pot of soup when you were sick. Their 2 boys, Muna and Faba, would run around the church compound, their laughter echoing through the air like music. Then one day, silence. Complete silence, no more children's voices, no more Amaka greeting members at the gate, just Pastor Bartholomew, standing alone, telling anyone who asked the same haunting words, they traveled. But here's the thing that made everyone's skin crawl. Nobody saw them leave. No suitcases. No goodbye hugs. No car pulling out of the driveway. They were just gone. What those church members didn't know was that every Sunday, as they knelt and prayed on those polished altar tiles, they were literally standing over the graves of the pastor's own family. Let me take you back to where this nightmare really began. Bartholomew was just 17 when he felt God calling him. Picture a skinny kid with dry lips and fire in his heart, walking barefoot through dusty streets every morning. No family, no money, just a worn Bible pressed against his chest like it was keeping him alive. He'd stop at every house, every sickbed, every crying mother. "Let me pray for you," he'd whisper, and people loved him for it. They called him the barefoot boy preacher, the one who never asked for anything, never shouted, just believed with everything in him. But here's where it gets heartbreaking. Every Sunday, he'd clean his tiny plywood church, arrange the benches, and wait, and wait, and wait. The church stayed empty. Just him, preaching to vacant seats, sweat rolling down his face, voice cracking with hope that maybe today, someone would come. Occasionally, a homeless man would wander in, sit for a few minutes, then leave laughing at the ceiling. That was it. That was his congregation. Meanwhile, across town, mega churches packed with thousands were making their pastors rich and famous. Bartholomew would walk past these places, watching people fall down, slain in the spirit, seeing pastors in gold watches and Italian shoes. Every night, he'd sit under a mango tree, staring at the stars, whispering, "God, what am I doing wrong?" The only answer was the sound of frogs croaking in the darkness. Then came the day that changed everything. A little girl was dying. Her grandmother begged Bartholomew to come pray. He knelt beside the child's mat, touched her burning forehead, and whispered a simple prayer. The next morning, the girl was running around, asking for breakfast. Word spread like wildfire. But here's where the story takes a sinister turn. The grandmother, who witnessed this miracle, pulled Bartholomew aside. Her eyes gleamed with something that wasn't quite right as she whispered, "A good heart isn't enough, boy. I know a place in the forest where real power lives, the kind that fills churches, the kind that makes people scream your name." That night, driven by years of rejection and desperate hunger for relevance, Bartholomew made the worst decision of his life. He followed her into the depths of the forest. In a clearing where even the air seemed afraid to move, 7 women stood in a circle, their faces painted white like death itself, wearing black from head to toe. The smell of burnt hair and old blood filled the air. "You want power," one of them hissed. When Bartholomew nodded, they slipped a black ring onto his finger. It felt like ice crawling through his veins. "From now on," they said, "the sick will rise at your touch, crowds will gather when you speak, but power isn't free." Their voices echoed together like a demonic chorus. "When we call for sacrifice, you must obey. And if anyone ever sees you making these sacrifices, they must die, and be buried where they stand." The very next Sunday, everything changed. An old woman who hadn't walked in years stood up and danced when Bartholomew touched her forehead. Word exploded through the town like a bomb going off. Within months, his tiny church became Fire Mountain Cathedral, a massive building with marble floors, red carpets, and sound systems that could wake the dead. Thousands came from neighboring states. Money poured in like a river. TV stations begged for interviews. That's when beautiful Amaka entered his life. They married in a ceremony that felt like a fairy tale. Soon came little Muna and Favor, filling their home with joy and laughter. but the spirits never forgot their deal. Late at night, while his family slept peacefully, Bartholomew would slip out to the church. Behind the altar, he'd dig holes and perform horrific blood sacrifices, slaughtering cow after cow, burying their remains under the very foundation where thousands would come to worship. Each sacrifice made his power stronger. Blind eyes opened with a whisper. Barren women conceived with a prayer. His name became legend. But power is a hungry beast that's never satisfied. One rainy night, the spirits demanded 30 cows. 30. Bartholomew drugged his wife's tea and snuck out to perform the largest sacrifice yet. Blood soaked the altar tiles as he worked in the candlelight, whispering ancient names he'd learned in that cursed forest. Then he heard it, a soft creak behind him. He turned, knife dripping in his hand, and his heart stopped. There stood Amma, her eyes wide with horror, hand covering her mouth as she witnessed her husband's unspeakable evil. Jesus, what is this? She gasped. The ancient covenant was clear. No one could witness the sacrifices and live, even though it tore his soul apart, even though she was the love of his life. The deal was binding. As Amaka tried to run, tried to scream for help, Bartholomew caught her. Through his tears, he whispered, "I'm sorry," as her struggles slowly stopped. Then came the sound that haunts him still, little footsteps. "Daddy, what happened to Mommy?" Muna asked, stepping into the church with his teddy bear. Favor appeared behind him, rubbing sleepy eyes. "Why is Mommy's face red?" The rule was absolute. They had seen the head to die. By morning, 3 fresh graves lay beneath the altar of Fire Mountain Cathedral, and when members asked where his family had gone, Pastor Bartholomew would smile that empty smile and say, "They traveled." For weeks, he preached over their bodies. Thousands gathered, not knowing they were standing on a tomb. The money kept flowing, the miracles kept coming. The lie stayed buried, until the smell started. First, just a whisper of something wrong in the air. Then flies began gathering near the altar. The stench grew stronger each day, no matter how much he sprayed or cleaned. Then came Samuel, a young volunteer who noticed a crack in the tile. Curiosity killed more than just the cat that day. When he pried open that floor, he found a strand of human hair, then a hand. Then the horrible truth came clawing its way out of the ground. The screams that followed echoed through the entire compound. Police arrived to find 3 decomposing bodies beneath the altar, a mother and her 2 innocent children, murdered by the man they'd trusted with their souls. Pastor Bartholomew didn't run, didn't deny it. He just stood there crying as they handcuffed him, finally free from the weight of his horrific secret. In court, he received life in prison, but the real prison had been the one he'd built around himself the moment he chose power over faith, the moment he believed that prayer wasn't enough. Here's what chills me to the bone about this story. It started with good intentions. A young man who just wanted to serve God, who just wanted people to experience healing and hope. But somewhere along the way, he forgot that true power comes from above, not from deals made in dark forests with painted faces and blood sacrifices. The saddest part? Those 3 souls buried under that altar trusted him completely. Amaka loved him. Muna and Favor called him Daddy, and he destroyed them all for the applause of strangers. So what did you think of this twisted tale? Drop a comment below and let me know what lesson hit you hardest from Pastor Bartholomew's fall from grace. And if this story sent chills down your spine, smash that like button, share it with someone who loves a good thriller, and don't forget to subscribe for more mind-bending stories that'll keep you up at night. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.